And I knew, having studied math, that there wasn't a really good algorithm for generating primes. And these autistic twins said that they just saw the answers, that it wasn't something they had to derive. So I thought, boy, this is really, if I can ever study this syndrome, this is something I want to do. And so that leads me to current times, when I started actively studying these autistic savants. And I did a consult on a patient who within 5 minutes started telling me all these things about me that she didn't know. She couldn't have possibly known. I mean, that my husband was a chemist, and that he was applying for jobs in 2 different cities, and said which city we were going to end up in, and how many kids I was going to have. And I mean, she told me all this stuff that some of it I knew was accurate right then and there. But then over time, the other things that she predicted about my future came true. I thought, this is really, really something that needs to be explored. And I thought, and it's so similar to Savant syndrome in certain ways, because in both instances, you have somebody who just has access to information that you just don't understand how they have that access. And so that's what got me interested in ESP, and in writing my book, The ESP Enigma, and then actually thinking about what is it that would, who is it that would give me the kind of data that people say they need to have. They say extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And I saw that in my book, The ESP Enigma, even though I made a case for the fact that our neuroscience model is incomplete. So we can't say these things are impossible because of the model in neuroscience, when that model doesn't really explain anything. It just makes basic assumptions. For example, that the brain creates consciousness, but it can't tell you how. And that's the hard problem of consciousness. And, and there isn't any sort of, consensus even on what the word consciousness even means. So there's all of these problems like that. And then you've got modern physics that's really not so modern anymore, in that it's over 100 years old, where we're told that the way that we perceive reality, including the way that we perceive time, and is incorrect. It's just an illusion.